A very, very warm good evening. This is Arnav Chaudhary. You are live on my YouTube channel, Arun Foot. It is April the 8th, 2025. It's a Tuesday. It's another Indian football discussion on this channel. And as the trophies all show, I guess we'll be talking about the ISL, we'll be talking about the I League, and we will be most probably talking about the Super Cup as well, and all the tops and the bottoms and the lows and the highs. Again, are there any highs in Indian football at the moment? I don't know. And at the start of the show, as I always would like to do, is if you're liking the content, do leave a like behind, share it with other people to potentially join us here during the live or maybe watch it afterwards. And of course, also subscribe to the channel to grow. And we're closing in slowly on the 2,500 mark. So thank you very much, everybody who has subscribed to the channel and watch the videos that I make on a regular basis. The latest was, of course, earlier today in regard to the Super Cup, but also watch this whole thing about Interkashi versus Churchill Brothers regarding the I-League title. Is the AIFF house on fire? The reviews of the different clubs and other things. So thanks a lot as always. And let's talk about those things. Good evening, Sterling. This session started to become one of the highlights of my day. Wow, thank you very, very much. Good to hear that. Thank you for joining in. And yeah, I hope that you keep enjoying it. Churchill Brothers have now claimed that other clubs weren't allowed to register cases with the AIFF when Interkashi fielded an ineligible player multiple times. They're now saying that they've beaten the system and corruption by the federation. So does Mr. Kalyan Chaudhary recognize the league winners? Wouldn't that mean it's going to be the same in the verdict? Sterling, there are 2-3 points which I clearly need to mention. Churchill Brothers are part of the system. They're not outside of the system. Valanka Alamau is part of the system, right? First thing. Secondly, I remember that there was this discussion about Interkashi and the player. Marco Bacco was injured. They took him off the roster because he was injured, but he was still under contract. They had another injury and replaced that player with Marco Bacco. And originally, AIFF didn't want to allow that registration, but that's been normal in the ISL, which shows you to what level of organization the AIFF has come down these days, that how unprofessional the AIFF is run. Because the simple thing is, replacing and then therefore you can bring back a player. So therefore, what are we talking about? It's hilarious the way that they're trying to put it, and and if it's contested and if it's cleared, then it should be cleared, right? And we are going back and forth. Why are decisions, if they're taken, and they're rightly taken, why are they being taken back? That is the question that I think Churchill Brothers, that Mr. Bajaj, that even some other teams, that which is a problem at the moment, and we're not getting anywhere, and therefore, that's one second. Sorry, 1 second. There was a call that I was getting. Is Kalyan Chaudhary dead or alive? Doing nothing, just doing. Don't know where is he? At least look for friendly with senior men's in June, and also Indian senior team having an important tournament. Saurabh, I think we have to talk about what is the role of Kalyan Chaudhary as a president, and the role of the president is not to look for international friendlies. I think then you don't know what the role of, sorry to say that very, very clearly, what's the role of the AIFF president? Is to represent the AIFF, to ensure that the office at Football House is doing its job, overviewing it, representing the federation whenever there is a representative job to do, because the federation president is not involved in the day-to-day running of football house. The job of looking for friendlies or to finalizing friendlies, which are a problem in the AIFF for the AIFF at this moment, because um, you know, so the situation as it stands is that his role is that. So it's the job of the national teams department to look at it with potentially the help of the secretary or the deputy secretary. But to find friendlies for the Indian national team is not job of the president, right? And therefore, on this one you're barking on the wrong tree, because that's not his role. And we have to remember Kalyan Chaubey and his contacts, international football. I don't know how they are, right? Rupal Patel might have been able to talk here and there. That informally you can do, and that's followed up by the office. But we have to understand the processes. I think very often I realize also a lot of people don't even understand the processes, how football is run or should be run, and that is a big problem. And again, the thing is that he has certain things to do which he's not doing. Asia Cup qualifier for men and women senior, then U17, U20, women's team with U20 men's tournament state to be held in August, September, and October. Qualifiers AFC Asian Cup. As well, an abuse job about doing nothing is just making uniform for sort of more angry. Sort of be angry. You should question the AIFF. But this, what you are asking for, is not the role of the president, right? And I don't want to defend Kalyan, but that's as it is. How Gokulam Kerala qualified and not Real Kashmir, because Kamal Nath, they wanted to play. I think the question was from the AIFF to the I-League clubs, who wants to play in the Super Cup? And from what I understand, Real Kashmir supposedly didn't show any interest. Therefore, Gokulam Kerala has come in. Marco Villa was deregistered, and re-registered this against the league rules. It's a major violation of league rules. Marco Barco could only have been removed, sitting him ruled out of the season. So how can he be suddenly come back from injury? Nadeem, he was re-registered because he was deregistered, and then in the window they had an option, and then they brought him back. He was still registered to the club. We've had the situation with John Johnson in the ISL with ETK many years back, if anyone remembers. So this club CEO part of the appeals committee? No, Sterling, I'm not saying she's part of the appeals committee. She's part of the exco, right? So therefore, to say that I am fighting against this is really funny. That I'm out of the system and we are fighting the system. You're part of the system. You've been part of it. Your father has been president of the Goa Football Association. You are not some rank outsider who's trying to fight the system. You are misusing the system to try and fraudulently get something which is not. If the others make a mistake and others get points for it, it's on them. Therefore, this is it's just becoming a complete joke. It's becoming a complete joke. Can any MPs introduce a bill related to OCI PI in Parliament? In theory, yes. Theoretically, yes. But I think first of all they have to, before introducing a bill, I think need to actually ask a question about it to the sports minister. Ask a question. A bill is step 2, step 3. The concerns whoever not able to join ISL will be disappointed. No one wants to stay in I-League. Even shutdown of Churchill Brothers is possible. Who will be responsible? Kamal Nath, I don't agree on this point. Because joining the ISL, you have to fulfill certain criteria. The ISL has been very, lenient for the last 5 years with its rules and regulations. I think even East Bengal normally should have not been allowed to join the ISL at the time that they were allowed to join, right? And East Bengal still has its problems with its investors. Mohammedan Sporting, complete mess. Hyderabad should have been taken out. So they have been very, very lenient. So for Churchill Brothers to even think of going to the ISL, I want to see them fulfill the criteria, first of all. Has anybody asked them? All these journalists who are celebrating Churchill Brothers or people who are supporting, and to me, those are the questions that need to be asked, right? And this is a big issue at this moment, and nobody's asking the right questions. People hype up Indonesia's senior team result, but just look at the youth work they literally made into under-17 World Cup. They tick the first box until India progress in new tournaments. Rest are hyperbole. Yeah, Renil, very, very right. What kind of system does AIFF, I-League, ISL use to store the details about number of cards a player has gotten, etc.? It's in their CMS system in the back end, I have learned, and I explained that yesterday, that if I'm running a club, very, very simply, I keep my own offline database on cards. Very simple, right? And my offline database means a simple Excel sheet. I have a sheet with all the names of the players, and then whenever they get a yellow card, you mark it. And then once they have 4, it's flagged, period. Easy job for team management. And therefore, that's the job. If Namdari says, listen, we didn't do our job because we couldn't count 4 cards, then don't play the league. Seriously. If you can't do that, first of all, I question the people who are running that team. And secondly, don't run a team. Thailand got trashed in U17 Asian Cup. Okay. Can Tete become president of AIFF? Brendel, theoretically, yes. Are OCI players needed in other fields other than sports? Well, they are there already in other fields, right? As investors, people who come back, so therefore, work back in India with the work experience abroad. So OCIs are there in all other fields. There was a post floating that Deepak Sharma, who was actually banned from AIFF for 4 years, participated in AIFF meeting. Roshan, I've seen that, and is my question would then be: is he then banned for 4 years? Was that confirmed or was that taken back? Because again, with this AIFF, you can do something and announce it, and then 3 weeks later you take it back and nobody knows what's happened. So therefore, my problem is I don't know: is he banned or is he not banned? Because if he's banned, he wouldn't be sitting in that EXCO meeting, right? So to me, that means that he's not banned, but I wouldn't know. Therefore, with the current status that the AIFF is in, anything is possible. Churchill Brothers are doing emotional blackmailing, saying everyone against them, but I-League fixtures made sure they got less travel and better fixtures. Some teams traveling length and breadth. Yeah, Nadine, good observation. Do you even think any investor is going to be able to work with the family-run club? No, I don't think so. It's very, very difficult. It was considered over the years. I think I know 2 or 3 instances where it was tried, and it always failed. Churchill Brothers are promoted team. Let them fulfill the club licensing. Club licensing should only be considered. Nadeem, there are 2 things. There's club licensing, and there are the ISL participation criteria. The club licensing is 1. If they wouldn't pass club licensing, they couldn't play in the I-League even. And on the other side, there is the point of ISL participation criteria, because the league has its own criteria. And therefore, from that perspective, even let's say 100 crore bank guarantee, first thing, can they do that? Where would they play? Because playing at the Raya Panchayat ground will not happen, right? in these times, in COVID times, they used the ISL used besides Fatorda, Bambolim, and Tilak Maidan. So therefore, there's a lot of questions that they would have to fulfill, which I find. Let's see. It seems like Tete literally revolutionized Mizoram football. Wish we had someone like him in Kerala FA. Okay, Renal. And just to add, yes, Tete is the key factor of why the football association, the football in Mizoram, has come as far as it has. Right? Because I've worked with Tete a lot. We've helped him here from Germany quite a bit. So therefore, great respect, and yeah, he's not, but he's the face of it. But I think it's a whole team. It's an effort, starting with the old chief minister, with let's see. What are the chances of Praful Patel returning to presidential post? His party has alliance with BJP now. Hannibal, I have not heard anything there. I don't see Mr. Patel returning. Only find a Times of India article from last July writing about 4-year ban. I read it somewhere else. I don't know if I read it in that Times of India article or someone posted it on Twitter or something, but there was something. And then therefore, yeah. But again, if he's sitting in that meeting, I think so therefore for me, yeah. Is that been imposed? Has it been drawn back? The AIFF also doesn't publish all these things, right? I would actually have a section on that website in regard to all these punishments which are handed out, so therefore, yeah, let's see. A foreign player can only be replaced by another foreign player by the respective participation club. So that's clause 6.5.7. In brackets, in case of an injury or an illness, prevent such foreign player from continuing to play for the rest of the competition or after mutual termination of contract up to 3 times in the competition. Yeah. So what does it mean? He can be replaced, and 3 times in the competition means theoretically he can come back, right? Or do I get it wrong? No problem, Roshan. Where did you post it? I didn't get an article. But again, this whole Deepak Sharma thing is something, again, I can't say that. So how is Barco? Again, it says it, right? So continue to play for the rest of the competition. But if he's on contract, right, there are 3 times in the competition. So that means for me that theoretically 1, 2, 3 means that he can come back in the competition. When Kalyan will step down from AIFF? Chance, no idea. I have no idea if he will, or if it needs to be an election. I don't know. Is it possible for Mohun Sporting Punjab? It will not be possible for Churchill. Of course, they meet the requirements. Ourselves. Every team must win. Alec have only one vision. They don't have one vision. Kamal, where are you getting that? If we go through the names of the 12 teams in the I League, how many teams do you think? And I ask everybody, how many teams do you think would qualify to play ISL out of the 12 teams? Give me a number, guys. I'll tell you mine. 4 to 6 out of the 12. 6 is even on the higher side. I would say 4 out of the teams would qualify in regard to the criteria set, because you need certain level of finance, right? So therefore, Kamal, this is not Punjab FC. I've been involved in setting up Round Glass Punjab, so I know Sunny Singh has the deep pockets to play ISL, and therefore they are playing. Mohun Sporting got investors in, but that seems to have not worked. They were a little lenient with that. So if the ISL actually was strict with this rule, right? Strict with the rule, Mohun Sporting would not have played. And even Hyderabad, the season before, should have been taken out. And they're realizing that being lenient is creating problems for the league. And it's causing problems also then on the reputation of the league. Hi Kumar, no, what Churchill Brothers owners thinks that they did something good to football. All these so-called clubs, we did what we did this. Kumar, they think that they are a gift to Indian football, and so that what else do you want me to add? It's just a sad thing in my opinion. And again, all these clubs. I mean, I even go to the biggest clubs in India. What was their contribution? We've had this discussion. I feel Churchill Brothers will shut down. Let's see what they do. They've threatened this. I don't know how many times that they will. And again, not for public consumption about what this all is about. Arindam called a donkey could not agree any less about the fact. Yeah, it's getting heated. It is getting heated, and Arindam being Arindam, yeah. How rich are the Churchill Brothers owners enough to be in ISL? No, not even close. Animal. Churchill Brothers has given platform to many Goan players like Brandon. Brandon is not a Churchill player. He's a Sporting Club de Goa player, right? Churchill Brothers will never shut down. They were just preparing a soft corner among Indian fans from the very start of the season. They psychologically won over us through victim card play. Very well said. And this is something, that is something, that's the point. According to me, both teams should be promoted. If both meets the criteria, let the ASL gets more stronger. Kamal, wrong approach. Sorry. And today, they do not fulfill the criteria. That's the first thing. And we don't want to get down the route of what they are or what they not are. And secondly, the ISL doesn't get stronger with more teams. I've said, and I stick to that. I think we need a smaller ISL than a bigger ISL because that we don't have the player base, right? I think if you see that tweet of mine, which seems to have gone viral since yesterday, and which even people are quoting now regarding the national team, it's a big problem. I think we need a more. What we have done, over the last 15, 20 years, we have diluted our system, and it's not helped. I was talking yesterday to someone who's an ex-Tata Football Academy player. I said, you guys, 25 of you used to come out and all 25 used to play at the top level. Now we have thousands of kids coming out every year and the standard is rubbish. Sorry, let's talk about it. And this is the question you should ask Mr. Bajaj and all these guys. What talent are you producing? What talent have you produced over the last 10, 15 years? Don't blame it on the ISL itself. You have been part of the system. You have produced players. You are very proud of you've got X number of players. What rubbish have you produced? Has any one of you running an academy produced an Asian level player? Has any one of you even produced a level of a player of a Baichung Bhutia, of a Sunil Chetri, or of an I.M. Vijayan? These people should look in the mirror themselves before blaming others. They are part of the problem. They are not part of the solution. That's the reality. Did you see that donkey comment? Yes, Hannibal, I saw it. Shan says, I think Baichung Bhutia is deserved next president. Then we have some hope about OCI at least take a step. What do you think? With all respect for Baichung, and an old friend of mine, I don't think Baichung is the right president. I think if we like it or not, we need someone with some sort of political contacts, at the top, because otherwise it doesn't work. Kalyan Chaubey is a perfect example for me. Ex-player, small-time politician, has no contacts, has no links. And if you like it or not, that is the reality of India. Or you're such a big and strong businessman that you can push things through. That is the reality of football in the year 2025 in India. I would like a management professional, a sports management professional who understands football to run the AIFF as a president. That is not going to happen. And that will also not work because that person will not have the necessary contacts and links to get stuff for football. This is reality, and this is the reality, that's the sad reality of where we are. Praful Patel and Priyaranjan Das Munshi were top level politicians. And could they have done more? Yes, much, much more. Did they do stuff for Indian football? Yes. In times of crisis, they did stuff, right? This is where Kalyan Chaubey is failing because he's not that level of a politician. That's a reality. And he doesn't have his flock in order. That's another problem. Praful Patel had his house in order. Only Dempo Intakashi. Add Gokulam Kerala to that. Add Sridevi Deccan. Those would be the 4 corporates that I would think can make it. And then maybe, the new owners, of Rajasthan United, who are doing a good job from what I hear. Let's see. Inter Kashi should go to CAS without delaying anything. Kumar, they can't go to CAS. They have to wait for the appeals committee judgment, and then they, Now, by the today, Mohun Super Giant U17 won over Reliance Foundation Young Champs 2-0. Angry Birds, from what I'm seeing, also they've lost some matches in Mumbai to Mumbai City. I don't know. The Reliance Foundation Young Champs program seems to have, the current batch doesn't seem to be good. And yes, I feel Angry Birds at the moment. And this is also reality in football, right? You might have a good generation. The next generation might not be that good of talent. That's how football works around the world. Churchill won the league and let them play. Why is the need for bank guarantee? If they want to run a squad with 10 crore budget, let them be. Nadeem, that is not how the ISL works. Then you haven't understood the principle of the Indian Super League, and that's not a question of franchisee. It's a league system, right? So if you have a system, follow it that way. Pick this match as the daughter of Churchill was in the AIFF. Could she hijack the promotion of Interkashi? Aditya, they are already doing it, no? They are doing it with certain friends. These friends who supposedly are the saviors, they're not the saviors. Does AIFF financial audit report come out? I heard there is a mountain of corruption. Did you read it? Probably it's been lacking, right? What's the last one? 22-23, I think is the last one. And so therefore, you're saying, I always say, and I say this to all of you, allegations left, right, and center, right? This is the biggest problems. I can't say if there is a corruption because I have not seen any corruption. Is there corruption? Most likely, yes. Can I prove it? No. So therefore, I am very, very careful with making allegations about these kind of things if I can't prove it. If I can prove it, I'll say it. But at the moment, I cannot prove that there are, there is corruption or not corruption. I think there is, but I can't prove it. Could you throw some light on what Ranjiba has been doing? Because many people portray him as a good guy. Sterling, look at this whole situation with Interkashi. He's involved in the background trying to create problems. Ask the teams with he's won. Age is a problem, and introduce relegation, not bank guarantee. Nadeem, again, not happening. So let's see. Ranji Bajaj already declared Churchill already as winners. I think who is he to declare? Who is he? Who am I? Who are you? It's for the federation to do it, right? Doesn't matter. I could tomorrow declare, I don't know, Milan Bhiti, a small club from Kolkata, as I-League champions. Not happening, right? So therefore, let it go through the way, and then if it doesn't go, Mohun Sporting got highest point among bottom team in last 8 years in ISL, so maybe better than some ISL bottom clubs in past. Nadeem, what has it to do with the financial situation of the club? These statistics have nothing to do. FSTL searching sponsors for Hyderabad, not Mohammedan Sporting, shows how much FSTL knows. Both clubs, Hyderabad is slowly recovering, however. There's no sign of Mohammedan healing. Who said that to you? Again, someone has written this and you sell it as if it's a fact. Oh God, guys, get better sources. My simple advice on a lot of things. I would have fully supported Dempo. See if they qualify, at least they have a vision similar to Interkashi. Yeah. Brandon wasn't developed by Churchill, but he played some really good football at the club when not many people were giving him a chance. That's true, but again, developed in South Africa, in Cape Town, yeah, that's the reality. And Hannibal says to Nadeem in regard to that, yes, number of teams have increased as well. We do not need a player, we need a politician like Praful Patel, says Aditya. Calm down, Arunda, your BP is going to go sky high. Oh, Aditya, I'm healthy, I'm fine. And once in a while, you know, see, does Jojobas really have much fans? Over the last years when I saw I-League matches, didn't see much in the stands for Jojobas or these Goan football fans. Roshan, you raise a very good point. And I go back to an example. 2015, I-League start. Salgaoka versus Bengaluru FC. How many paying fans were at the Fatorda? Early Jan. I think it was 9th of Jan. I think 8th or 9th of Jan 2015. 9 paying spectators. 9, right? Just to make it sure. Right? You see my hands? 9 paying spectators. A few weeks earlier, ISL final, ISL semi-final and all that. Or in 2015, I was there late in December. FC Goa versus Chennai FC, that sensational 2-3 loss. Sold out stadium, and I think they could have sold another 30, 40, maybe 50,000 tickets. So therefore, the Goan clubs, Roshan, have had a problem in regard to fans, be it Dempo, be it Salgaoka, be it Churchill, be it Sporting Club. FC Goa has had more fans than these clubs. Now, in the last few weeks, yes, I think there's a little bit of momentum build-up towards that final game. So, are they Churchill fans? I don't think that they're pure Churchill fans. I think they are fans of football who've gone and watched it. Hi, City, Mohun Supergiant versus Bengaluru FC final yet again. Yes, very, very true. What can be do to bring the OSI topic to the forefront of discussion across India and bring it before the government? Because after next Bangladesh, India chance Asia Cup is almost over. Sure, Shans, I can only say I've had these conversations, and at the moment I see nothing happening. The AIFF has all the infos that they need, what they need to do. They've gone to the government at some stage, a while back actually. Nothing has happened since. So therefore, yeah, make noise about it on social media, but let's see. Indian players pool is very small. Due to it, every Chintu Mintu footballer demands crores. With a good club youth league of 7-8 month problem can be solved and clubs will be more sustainable. Probably I've been hearing this now for 20 years, I think. Yeah, 20 more years, that these are the solutions. Seem very easy. Some clubs have done it. But despite doing that, we have some good academies. Not always good youth leagues. Therefore, they create their own competitions to push things. But the quality has not gone up. The quality has gone down. So that's I would say, the challenge at the moment that we have in Indian football, of why is it the case that with all that's been happening in football, in regard to grassroots, youth football and everything, why are we, despite having many more kids in football, in organized football training, the quality is going down so dramatically? But as we know, common sense is uncommon in Indian football. One player can sustain one youth team of club with better coaches season. we find that better coach, I think that's going to be also a problem. Kalyan is the right person, but the problem is, where is the I-League champion? Maybe not this year. Okay, don't agree on that. Kamal, RFDL is far better than AIFF Youth Leagues, but AIFF Youth Leagues are leagues for kids. RFDL is for under 21, so to me the comparison doesn't work. Ronaldo, by the way, what's your opinion about Diamond Harbour FC? Angry Birds set to join, sorry, not set to join, set to get promoted to the I-League. Let's see what they can do. They've been working their way up the system, have a good coach in Kibu Vikuna, some experienced players from Bengal across India. I think they'll be someone to look at next season. Hey, Stephen, I'm doing good. Bayern versus Inter will be a good game today. I hope so. And I hope for a win for Bayern Munich. Reliance should bring in ISL club as well. To where, Kamal? To what? Very sorry to say our current political regime put anyone XYZ in place of Kalyan. Result will be same. Political contact will not help here, as from top to bottom, no one has positive intent. Monok, you have a point over there, but I think with the right person, with a little bit of intent, even a little bit of intent, I think, I think there could be changes. And to add to that, what you add, current Indian political system has become corrupted, never before. That's also a fact, yeah, that one has to keep in mind. What can be done to bring, you've already answered it, sir, but if we elect a politician, he will fill his and his friends' pockets before investing anything into football. I too want Bhutia, a person with moral, integrity, and drive. See, and this is Utsav where you, don't know the realities of things. So therefore, that's the thing. Now, you buy that narrative. It's who's filling whose pockets, how, Let's see. Hi, Uchut, Ruma Shanondhar as East Bengal CEO. Uchut, if East Bengal do that, I would congratulate them to that. Shanondhar is one of the few real professionals in football, or has been in football, is currently doing some other work outside of football, but is one of the pros in the system. And if East Bengal can get him, I surely would congratulate them on that appointment. Right, already more than 38 minutes. If you haven't, leave a like behind. 8 likes so far. If want to share it with other people. And if you want to follow the channel, do subscribe to the channel. We are trying to close in, or I'm trying to close in on the 2,500 mark. Thanks everybody for following, and also try and watch the shorter videos that I make on a regular basis. Today did something on the Super Cup, other things in the last few days, so do watch it. And thanks a lot always, guys, for following and subscribing and liking and sharing. Oh, now this AIFF Appeals Committee is another circus where people are blatantly rigging and lobbying the judgment. Yeah. In lower state federation level, the system is sorry, quick sip of water for me. The system has problems, and the system needs to be rectified from the top to the bottom, from the bottom to the top, right? And our national team have more players from Northeast. Did we ever see a strong financial club from Northeast? We need small clubs as well. Kamal, then if you say that, then you don't understand the model of the ISL, right? It has to be a strong financial model, because if you have, if you have smaller teams who don't meet the financial criteria, why would the other teams invest that much? Very simple. There needs to be in this system, you need an entry barrier to grow the league to a certain level. Why was Northeast United created. Because Northeast United has been created with the idea, with the approach of enabling the Northeast to come together and have a club of their own, right? So therefore, did the I-League in the 80s and 90s have, NFL clubs played there when players started coming from Manipur? Were there clubs from Mizoram when players started coming from Mizoram? No. So therefore, that to me is not a criteria. I think a lot of people in India football illiterate. Most says the whole AIFF is corrupted. From what my learnings, there are a lot of good people in the system, but people always cries. Very well said. Very well said. Some bad apples seem to make the whole harvest bad, so to say, right? And that's the problem. There's 100% corruption. If it's open secret, probably, then give me factual example. I also believe that there is corruption, but I can't prove it. I don't have the proof. Prove to me that there is corruption in the AIFF, right? Take it forward. If you have, take it to courts. I don't have example, sadly. I only have guesswork of certain people telling me this, that, everything. But no one can prove it to me. That's why I am very, very careful. As I say, corruption is a rampant problem in Indian football. Can I prove it? No. Or now we need personalities like Mehdi Taj as an example. Who is Mehdi Taj? Sorry if I don't know the gentleman. And now we know there was corruption, how Qatar got the right to host World Cup, same way now Saudi got. It's very difficult to prove some corruption, in my humble opinion. Stephen, then that is something, if you can, again, prove it, and then we can talk about it. Right? Because it's proven, for example, that Germany, paid for it to get the 2006 World Cup. Do we speak about it? No, we don't. So therefore, prove it, and then we can talk about it. I think it's better to expand IWL. So many clubs are interested to participate. Angry Birds, again, we don't have the quality and the standard. So therefore, that's the thing. Does Premier League ask promoted clubs to have bank guarantees similar to budget of top clubs like Man City, United, Liverpool? This is unfair, but some guys try to prevent promotion and say relegation. Nadeem, you're comparing a league model which has been there for, the Premier League started in 92, but the English football system has been there for, quite a while. If you want to get into the MLS, right, the entry barrier of getting into Major League Soccer without promotion and relegation has gotten tougher and tougher with each season. If you want to, there have been people who wanted to get into the A-League. Also, that has failed. So therefore, there are enough models around the world where if you want to have a strong league, there are certain ways of doing it. And we have gone now this route, right? And promotion and relegation, ours is not a settled league. I think that has to be said. We're in year 11, and our league, that's the harsh reality. If you look at the situation of the clubs, of the franchises, or whatever you want to call these entities, all are in financial shambles because nobody's making money. If somewhere or the other, the money has to come. 2004 Sporting Club de Goa's Mahindra Federation Cup final sold out. But Nadeem, we're talking about one-off instances. Look at the attendances in the ISL knockouts and semi-finals, and most final will be sold out as well. These one-off matches in India always work, but look at the whole league season. Dempo, Salgaonkar, Churchill Brothers, none have had fans turning up in numbers at the stadium. It was only FC Goa that attracted people. Ochud very well said. That's the reality. People come with hype. How many watched when FC Goa played 4 p.m. matches in preseason for Toda? Nadeem, what are we talking about preseason? If clubs are unsuccessful in India, people stop come watching, right? We're talking about even in East Bengal, even BFC have had problems. Look at Mumbai City this season, right? Last season, towards the end, the stadium was always full. We're talking about these clubs that you were talking about in Goa have hundreds of fans, not even thousands, right? So therefore, just doesn't add up. As a Goan football fan, I can say that many of us just want to see the return of the glory days where we had 3, 4 of our clubs in the top flight. Yeah, that's fine. But again, isn't FC Goa doing that thing in ISL? I think, Aditya, they have done it, right? I think FC Goa has been able to connect to Goa, unlike those old clubs have. Sorry, I don't know how many times I've been to matches where you're playing. So let's see. Government will never do OCI card. It's better to focus on infrastructure and improve the league. If government somewhat did it, they would have to do it for every sports, which will kill homegrown talent. What's up? It will, if it happens for all sports, you know? And therefore, infrastructure, where is the infrastructure? Where is the coaching? Forget the infrastructure. I think infrastructure isn't the biggest problem. India's biggest problem in sports is the quality of coaching, and we don't talk about it. That is our biggest problem, especially on right-wing government. Okay. You can bring ready-made fans for a few bucks for every match if you want. For any match, you can contact me or provide the human resources. Okay, Kumar. FC Goa is one club, but we Goans would love to see multiple cups represent us like the old days. Sterling, maybe yes, but would they come and support the clubs? I have had these discussions in Calcutta with multiple fans, with friends around the world. If East Bengal and Mohun Bagan are as big as they say, they should be selling out every match. They don't. And we're talking about the biggest entities in Indian football. So it's not working. Oh no, why do you feel FC Goa can attract the masses alone, unlike the other legacy clubs? Because it's FC Goa. It's not Dempo Sports Club. It is not Salgaoka Football Club. It is not Churchill Brothers. Those are attached either to companies or to a family. But even Sporting Club de Goa couldn't do that connect. Peter Vas tried a lot. The late Peter Vas tried a lot, but he couldn't get that connect. FC Goa did, right? And therefore, and they still have it, despite less numbers today than they would have had 10 years ago. But FC Goa still has a better connect than any of these clubs. And that's a reality, if you want to like it or not. The amount of gossip going around in football and the fans believing it is astonishing. Don't fall for these news and articles. Come on, guys, do proper research and see if these things are fake. Well, Jan, very well said. It is, I don't. It sounds like I'm becoming a fact checker for you guys, right? That you hear something, and then you throw it out, and then we talk about it. I'm willing to do that, but again, I expect all of you to try and use your brains. Everyone has a brain, and just think logically about these things, right? I'll tell you one of my own examples. I would have told you in 2013, 2014, or even 2012, 2013, when the ISL concept was being worked on. Playoffs make no sense. We don't need playoffs. And after 2-3 years, after I'd also left, but I realized that in an Indian context, the ISL playoffs most probably is something which you need to really get some interest towards the end of the season. And if the current season is a very, very good example, and it's working. And so therefore, those are the things that we have to think about. What is the reality, what works or what doesn't? And therefore, that's, let's see. Be happy in that. At least you didn't end in 7th position like us. Again, football is new in our state. And Aditya, there's the danger that the club might be leaving in the summer, right? Only clearly confirmed result of current I-League is relegation of Delhi FC. Exactly. There is so much mess in the I-League than everything else. Let's see. Who says Bhutia will be moral and better than Kalyan Chaube? Asks Aditya. Who will win the final on Saturday? Banjab, I said after that 5-0 win against Mumbai City in Mumbai to the people present, that I think BFC will win the ISL Cup this year. Don't know why I had that feeling, and Let's see. Talked with one friend today, and he's an economics student, couldn't understand his words, but he said that the way ISL was created was flawed, and Lions should do ISL a close league without AIFF. Opinion. It is a half closed league in that way, right? It is not a fully closed league. It is a half closed league. And the flaw is nice that an economic student has an opinion about a flawed system. The flaw is that there's no television money coming in. All we can talk about everything. All things try to monetize everything that there is. As long as there is no money coming in from television, none of this will work. That's a reality, right? So we can talk about everything that we want, but if we're not going to get television rights, television money into the system, none of this will work, right? So therefore, we can have every conversation. It will not work. I think Manolo should leave ISL and only consider the Indian national team. What's your opinion? Chance it's going to happen, right? His contract ends after the season, and then the next year, he is only the Indian national team coach. I said today's UCL prediction, mine Bayern should win at home and the other two properly draws. Yeah, I think Bayern will win. Bayern should win, even though, we've had some very bad injuries in the last few days. But again, that's part and parcel, sadly, of days and weeks. And the other one, I think they will draw. But I think in an ideal case scenario, Bayern Real Madrid from these two ties move into next round. Guys, there are 25 people watching, but such few likes for now. I think we can all do better. Smash that like button, guys. Thanks a lot, Sterling. Yeah, I think we should be doing better, right? Again, a lot of people watching today. Thanks a lot for that. And good to see you all joining in. 26 people at the moment. We have 12 likes only. I think we can do better. And those of you who are new, who might be willing to come back for more regular content, do subscribe to the channel. As I say, we are trying to close in on the 2,500 mark. I'm saying Bhutia has more integrity and moral than an MLA MP son running the federation. MP, MLA son? MLA MP son? He's not an MLA and he's not an MP. Baichung and Kalyan Chaube both are failed politicians. They've never won an election. Kalyan at least won the AIFF elections, but they've never won a political election, both of them, right? By the way, is it true that Havas's appointment wasn't just made because of his health, which is not actually that bad, but they assumed he's bad? I'm not sure. Again, speculation put out factually. There's so much of speculation. It says, when Mohun Bagan said that he was sick, he wasn't actually sick. Was he sick? Was he not sick? I don't know. If I see him at Interkashi at the moment, and I've met him twice, yeah, he's a little older, but to me, he's fit enough. And so therefore, yeah. What use Delhi Dynamos did to Delhi football after having fulfilled bank guarantee any long-term investment? Nadeem, Delhi Dynamos actually tried to do certain things with Delhi youth football, created the Youth Football League and other things. But Delhi is its own beast. Delhi, nobody's been able to be successful. Again, we have a system. Either you're part of the system, you want to understand it or not. We have a system, or we don't have a system. And then you don't want to have a system, then you'll have a Churchill Brothers situation that these clubs, again, Churchill Brothers shouldn't be crying because I think in 2013, 14, 15, I don't think they would have passed the club licensing criteria if they ever really looked at it, right? And the second they looked at it, tata bye-bye. So that's the reality. Bye, Kumar. Football development, most crucial age is 16 to 21 years of age. Players get good 30 plus competitive matches each year, can be developed, but our players hardly get 10, 15 games. How will they develop? Well, yeah, that's a problem. But to me, a bigger problem, I think our players don't spend enough time on training. And it's not just the juniors, I feel even senior players as well, right? So therefore, for me, The question here is how do you enhance it? And that's it's a general problem, right? Our youth, our grassroots system, so therefore, yeah, that's it. Bye, Kamal. See you soon. At age U70, you can see Indian boys good and able to compete. Then U20, they are not. Foreign players get good games. Even in Spain, Germany, Indian boys rarely go in main team. They play reserve. Probably Spain and Germany, I wouldn't say so, because a lot of 18, 19-year-olds, 17-year-olds are nowadays getting their first touch of international top level football at that age. Our problem is, you know why we compete at under 17 level? Because of age fraud. We are playing older boys. Our under 17 team never is an under 17. It's more of an under 19, under 20, maybe an under 21. So we are playing with men against boys. At under 20, we can't get away with that because then men are playing against men. Now it deserves more subscribers and likes. Honest voice and discussion keep going. Best of luck. Good night. Thanks, Rans. Thanks. Good to see you back again. Mehdi Taj, he's Iranian Football Federation president, pretty hated by their online fans and journalists. Yeah. Most probably he's doing that something right if he's hated by those people. MLS clubs and A-League are not strong leagues. Huh? How are you saying that? What's the performance of the clubs in continental football? Aussie club losing to Thai clubs, losing to Mexican clubs. Do you understand what you're talking about? You got to at least MLS. MLS is not a strong league. Do you know that most Mexican teams could, could play most probably in La Liga? Because we care about European football, we should not make football elsewhere weaker than it is, right? And the MLS is a good example of a model, of something that has been created. And again, American football, professional football started or soccer as they call it, in the 70s. The NASL had players like Pele, Beckenbauer, the best in the world. And Gerd Müller used to tell me he was a George Best at Fort Lauderdale Strikers and all, right? Bob Houghton used to be with Toronto Blizzard. It bombed in the 80s. They took a decade to rework, had the World Cup in 94. After that, started MLS. MLS failed, reinvented itself twice. And now, I've got friends of mine working in there, and, they say, listen, I don't want to come back to European club football. They love it there, right? And they're growing. And the continental CONCACAF has reworked its Champions League and Champions Cup and whatever all they have. And so that's a reality. So therefore, we are nowhere to be competing with that level, right? So we would be happy to get to an MLS level, seriously. And even the A-League with its flaws, but at least it has a certain structure. It is able to work in its remit, and it's attracting top players every few years to come over there and play and be real marquees, which we don't have anymore. Do you think either Churchill Brothers or Intercash will fulfill the club criteria for ISL? Could we possibly have no club getting promoted? Interkashi can and will fulfill the criteria. Yes, they can do that. Churchill Brothers, not in an honest way. Another holistic development is required at youth level. One academy producing good players are not going to work out until the level of competition increases. But Angry Birds, I've told you the example of what in the past used to be happening with the Tata Football Academy. The Tata Football Academy used to be producing quality players, right? TFA was producing quality players. And the competition at the time was much, much worse than what it is today. So that's the thing. I remember Chennai FC kids with help of Norwich City played against top teams like Dortmund, whether the best or just reserve. Pranjal, I remember seeing that, but I don't know what level of team Dortmund or the others sent into those competitions. I can say Next Gen Cup, for example, we send our RFDL teams, which are under 21s and more, and the Premier League teams send, under 18s. And I don't even know if those were the first teams. Will ISL ever be able to become sustainable in terms of profitability? Pratik, very good question. it depends on if it can become more popular and suddenly there are TV rights to be sold. That's the only way it can happen. Stephen, Igor, most of ex-Indian coaches said we have on par in quantity like players in Europe or South America in 18 age groups. The development stops after 18. What is the reason? Maybe. I disagree with that point in today's world, because I would say that in the last 6-7 years, I've seen that at under 17 level. If I look at the teams that Bibiano had in 18, if I look at before that in the under 17 World Cup, those two squads, and look at the players that I saw, was it last year or the year before last in Stuttgart? That's a dramatic downfall. So therefore, for me, so let's see what's happening. Stops of 18, that's why we need to only focus on that. We don't have a new 19, so therefore our problem is we can't compare. Our whole system needs an overhaul. Didn't he try to lobby and remove one Bagan? Recently got jailed and 50 court work pressure. I don't even know what your guys are on. Mexico still have a following, but why do you think Mexico can't pull the numbers like before? I think the level of interest in the ISL has generally gone down, if you ask me. And the FC Goa is no different to that, to the other teams, and therefore I think, yeah, there's less interest. Do you think it was right move to start RWA when our football is still not profitable yet? Starting, it was right. I think it's better to have a smaller league than a bigger league to keep it competitive. So therefore, yes, it is right, but profitability will not come, right? And the women's game also, we're losing out quickly. 3 years ago, I would have said, you know what, India could have, if we didn't screw up this whole COVID thing, I'm certain that India would have been in the FIFA Women's World Cup in 2023. I'm certain about that, but we will never get to know. I'm feeling that Indian football will go another dark period. People will lose interest. We are already in that dark period, Murali. We are in a very, very dark period. And yeah, let's see. I'm tired of this. Let me review it once in a while. No one is going anywhere in summer. If you know more, Aditya, let us know. But I'm hearing different things of what's happening at the moment. And for the last time, what do you think my club is going to leave? Finances, Aditya. Financial support. Under your old chief minister, there was a lot of corporate support for the club, and that has dried out. Look at what's happening with the women's team. Last year they were champions, now they're 7th. So therefore, for me, that's going to be a financial decision. And if someone comes around, that's why it's a franchise, right? If someone comes around and offers the club a certain amount of money and says, "Listen, come here, I'll give you certain support as well around it," and yeah. I'm surprised how many fake news goes around in Indian football, considering how less people care about it. Pranjal, I think that's an interesting part, that actually a lot of people care, right? I don't think that, to me, that is something which is very, very interesting, that a lot of news is being passed around by XYZ, and nobody knows where it's come from, how it's come there, and why it's there. And it's very, very difficult. So let's see, but at least we try. Now I believe in Sanjay Goenka and Mohun Matsuwachan more than Kalyan and AIFF, at least in a club representing their perform well at nation level. Shans, I hope they do, but they haven't, right? I think that's the question, right? That Mohun Bagan, let's see. How AIFF football president, AIFF president selected based on election is conducted properly. How are they selected? These politicians over again and again. Murali, yes, there are elections, there are certain criteria, and Kalyan didn't get elected as a politician, he got elected as a former footballer. I don't believe in both Sanjeev Goenka and Molina still somehow. Yeah, I think that's an interesting one. Utsav is probably talking about Jay Shah, son of Amit Shah, when he said about MLA and MP son. Okay, thanks, Pranjal, yeah, might be. Delhi always attracted a lot of people till early 2000s. The next generation lost interest, and all these people came to watch non-Delhi clubs. Uchud, yes, and there are two things. What I also have learned about Delhi, you play matches in Ambedkar, you promote it in Old Delhi, people will come, irrespective of who plays. You play in the Nehru Stadium, you have to do a lot of more PR to get people into that stadium. So that's also a reality. I want Mohammed Supergiant to lose more than Odisha FC to win at this point. Got to put the noise pollution down. Okay, Aditya. But I really love the fact that Mohun Bagan Ultras have been pushing for a stadium as well as women's football team. That's good. Angry Birds, remember, I made a video on that topic a while back, and that was watched quite a bit by Mohun Bagan fans. And I say again, I think infrastructure and team, I think more than stadium, I would say rather a proper training complex with four grounds. So yeah, these are things. I attended the 2010 Durand Cup semi-final Ambedkar between East Bengal and United Sports, almost full house. Yeah, I've even seen matches with other teams. So yeah. So franchises also should fulfill standards. How many clubs are playing ISL despite failing club licenses? Shouldn't they be removed from the league? The club licensing doesn't apply to the ISL, no? Nadeem. If it applies, then the clubs would work to try and fulfill it. But the club licensing doesn't apply. Academy accreditation and licensing doesn't apply these days. So there are, for example, if you want to talk about Churchill Brothers, does Churchill Brothers fulfill AIFF club licensing? General question. I don't think they would. Good evening, Ishan. I'm doing well. Yeah, welcome. Just suggestion, but I think it'd be a great podcast having people in football from throughout the world. That's never bring people to community. Sterling, I know, but sometimes I am in a situation due to work. I'm doing these lives now on a regular basis. I'm not sure if and when I can call people and have a conversation. But yeah, I've tried. I have to actually do it, and then of course, the next few days I'll be busy with handball. So most probably tomorrow is my last live for a while. Let's see what I can do. MLS existed long before ISL. Yes, it did. So what about a player's decision making? How will it improve? Arindam, it's a difficult one. So to me, the players need to be more on the pitch. I see players spending an hour and a half on the pitch, spending a certain period of time in the gym. They need to be on the field 3-4 hours a day in either case scenario, even at the senior level. That would help them, I think. But that needs to be possible. Genesee, I'm going to take you down, brother. Try to push for your agendas towards your club manager rather than praying for failures of others, says Angry Birds. Messi is playing in MLS. How are they weak? An American guy is playing in AC Milan. Again, yeah. How did football develop in Canada? Their top division compared to which other league? See, Canada, you can't compare, Ishan, because their top three teams in CF Montreal, FC Toronto, or Toronto FC, sorry, and Vancouver Whitecaps all play in Major League Soccer, and the Canadian Premier League is below that. What is it? Maybe third tier of European football. Angry Birds, fine, whatever you say, I'll be different. MLS has money and still not dominating CONCACAF. Nadeem, as I said, Mexico, underrated, and Mexico, some of the top clubs are spending more than some of the MLS teams. So therefore, and domination again. Then the Premier League has the most money. Is the Premier League dominating Champions League, Europa League, Conference League? Don't think so. Huh? A-League clubs are struggling east zone of AFC Champions League. Nadeem, the Champions League is now a league where some of these East Asian clubs are playing, I think, one or two or maybe three local players and the rest are foreigners. A-League are mainly playing with Australians. That's a simple difference. Aditya says, Nadeem, brother, here we are not even winning an AFC third tier league and they are playing in AFC 3. Yeah. What does your tweet mean when you say Indian players don't perform the same in national team? These players are better. Express it very, very simply. I feel that there is something in the national team. I've not been around the national team for a while in regard to that. I'm staying there with them. I'm eating with them. I'm, spending time on the training ground. There is something wrong in the team. And I wouldn't know what. To me, there is some problem. I don't know. I remember even, Stephen was a very, very strict coach, but still, the players wanted to come to the national team. Under Bob, the players wanted to come to the national team. Nikolai Adam, the players wanted to play for him. Bibiano, players want to play for him. This team, I don't know what Stimac has done with this team. Stimac has destroyed the fabric of the national team, I feel. And for Manolo to bring it back is going to be difficult, because to me is the challenge of a coach is how good or how bad these players are. You have to try and make them 5 to 10% better than what they actually are. You know? So that's the reality. I searched about those Premier League players. They're currently U10 first team guys. Now, right? At the time we're talking about a year ago, that means they were the B team. It was nice to hear Pradyum Reddy's frank comments on Mano's statement about our U17 boys being as good as Spain U17. He said that take U17 World Cup, we finished last even behind tiny Pacific nations. Yeah. Yeah. We're nowhere near. Listen, I went in December to Malaga, and I saw, when I walked around on the beaches, those small caged concrete grounds by the beachside. 10, 11, 12-year-olds playing with older boys. The technical abilities, not even our national team players have that. To answer a question, when Indian players not training enough or improving enough, they know pool is small and there's no danger to a position, they're getting money, increasing competition is answer. Prabal, the increase in competition has happened, huh? The pool is today bigger than it was in regard to, because you've got 25 teams in the top 2 tiers. The competition theoretically is bigger, right? Where has the standard gone up? The standard has gone dramatically down. All these logics that you have, right? Expand your base, you will funnel your talent through and all that stuff. Listen, it is illogical. 25 players, Tata Football Academy was better than thousands of kids coming out of all these academies every year. Illogical, right? From a statistical standpoint. So all these facts which normally apply are not working in Indian football. That should be answered by us. MLS has a very good stadium attendance and they're constantly trying to improve. And USA being a sporting nation, people have interest in many sports. I see kids playing. Why Indian players are not improving? Simple answer, coaches, teacher is so bad. It makes students worse. Our World Cup batch was good. They played good till age of 19. Later, our coaches and system. Yeah. Why do you think Venkis are still pumping in money at Blackburn Rovers, losing millions, getting bad press, club going backwards, and supporters absolutely hate them? Why can't they invest in Indian football? So I don't know, because this is a question that I have had. They were never interested in Indian football. So, they know in Pune some of the people who have been involved in football, but they weren't, the Venki family, the Rao family, sorry, was never interested. Have they lost millions? I don't think so. I think that by now would have made some money on it as well. So, recovered some of their investments. Let's see. And therefore, but why? I wouldn't know. But it has stabilized a lot. I think we hear a lot less criticism about the Venkis than you would have heard a decade back or 13, 14 years back. So yeah. Can numbers attendance game can be increased by introducing mid-game performance like Super Bowl, American mid-match holds? I don't think so. Wait, who's leaving in the summer? Mohammedan? Who's leaving what? I don't know, Panju, in what connection? I don't think Sanju Gonka is going to build any stadium, says Hannibal. Ishan says Jamshedpur is the only club with their own stadium, right? I know they've spent more season, but they've spent a lot lesser than other clubs. Maybe other clubs can be smarter in transfer market. Ishan, I think you have to also remember that Jamshedpur or Jamshedpur FC is Tata Nagar. So in that city, they are the boss. They run the show, right? So therefore, they have a huge advantage, and that stadium has been there. To next to it is a cricket stadium. And yeah, but yeah. So therefore, they have their own system. Short-term solution: open Indian arrows again with U19, U20 with good foreign coach, not costly one but good. Even Japanese school team coach is better than most Indian coaches. Yeah, probably, but that's for the AIFF to spend money, huh? And that's where the AIFF, why doesn't Mohun Supergiant have women's team? Pranjal, good question. That's the question to ask the club. I don't know. Shanhundra will be a great boost, a big boost for us in case our player rules change. I mean, our standards are so low, a player of the level of Amit Singh will also be a boost. Ishan, yeah, add the boys in England to it. I think, yeah, that's what it is. Who funds Churchill Brothers? Do you think they have enough money to go to ISL? They fund it themselves. I don't think they have enough money. I know they don't have money. A-League is not that strong, yet Australia managed to produce some players capable of playing in Europe's big five leagues. Meanwhile, India can't even produce League Two level players, said Abdullah. Yeah. You can have interview with Constantine Bibiana and Shubhatopal. Yeah, which should let me see what I can do. When it was 3+1 rule, A-League clubs struggled and had to drop down to AFC Cup, and we are proud following A-League model and not the model followed by the rest of the world. Nadeem, we're not following the A-League model. We are following a model which is, what is it? A model of North America, American Pro Leagues, and some extent the Premier League. That was the premise of the ISL when it was started. And if you look at it, has it worked? Has it not worked? Then my counter question is, what has the I-League, what has the NFL done before that? What has Indian football done before that? Club football done before that? I mean, if you think that in 1995, a certain Zeb Blatter needed to tell the AIFF, hey, why don't you have a national league? And they proudly said, oh, you know what? We have Durand Cup, we have IFSC, Rovers Cup, Santosh Trophy, this, that, everything, whatever, blah, blah. We are still not a grown, mature league country. That's our biggest problem. And the A-League, how good they are at the continental level doesn't count. The question is the league in itself functioning? And if you look at it, in a place like Australia, where you have multiple sports, Australia is not a one sport country. There are multi-sports country. Football has established itself in the last 20 years. So that is what counts. Are we there? No, we're not. How are AIFF going to decide who will face 1-1 Bangalore FC go? Arnav, tomorrow a draw in Football House. Aditya says, Nadeem, brother, we are following it because it's the only working thing we have. The I-League is doing the so-called rest of the world model. Tell me how many people watch that league? Or how many, no, not now. Ask how many people are watching it before the ISL came or not. And one has to be honest, because I was there at the time. Reliance wanted to make an ISL out of the I-League, but maintaining it as an I-League. And the I-League clubs, amongst others, the certain Churchill brothers didn't want it to happen. To corporates attach themselves to clubs. And East Bengal, Mohun Bagan, didn't want it. So if these guys are crying or have been crying, I say that again and again, they've been part of the problem, not a part of the solution. That is our biggest challenge in Indian football. That has been, we're not getting where we need to get, right? 1 hour and 20 minutes. If you're liking the conversation, please leave a like behind, leave a share behind. 19 likes so far. Thanks a lot. And if you want to come back more for regular content, do leave a subscription behind as well. Thanks to all of you for that. And also watch the other videos as well. Sorry. To be honest, if you take some information, Japan is not a great example. If we know Japan is Japan, but what about Iran? Persian clubs has more domestic players than any other country's clubs. Debu, Iran is, as a country, not an example for us. right? So therefore, they have certain realities. If Iran was a little bit more open, their clubs would have more players from abroad, right? And if you look at Iran, despite all that obstruction, they've had players of origin also playing for Iran, right? Ashkan Dejaga, very good example, huh? Part of that very successful team which won the under 21s in 2009, and those players went to win the World Cup. You know, the Hummels, the Boatengs, that generation of players, Müller, and all those guys. Manuel Neuer, he was part of that team. A guy with a lot of tattoos played for Iran. So therefore, Iran is not an example for us. We're a different level. Do you like the group stage and knockout or the direct knockout as it's happening this time? Arnav, I like the direct knockout, and I would prefer if the Super Cup or Federation Cup, whatever we want to call it, happens through the season. That would be better for us, but let's wait and see. Are you going to watch UCL tonight? Pranjal, yes, but not live in the stadium. Tough to predict, but do you feel FSTL pulling out helping the national team in future? Bloated salaries will disappear and hopefully our players will get to know their reality and touch grass. Ishan, I don't know. I honestly don't know what's going to happen with everything at the moment. You know, normally I try and predict things in Indian football, but at the moment to predict something or the other is very, very difficult, in my opinion. And therefore, I don't know. I mean, if the salaries are going to go down, they're going to go down dramatically if the ISL disappears, right? And that's something which needs to be remembered. And therefore, let's see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen. I think nobody can. If anybody says he can or she can predict what's going to happen in the next few weeks and months, no chance. Williams not pinning down the contract, making it worrisome for BFC. Yeah, I don't know. He's been one of their best players this season. Any news of Jacob that's possible move to Europe? Not, Ishan, I heard he might go back to Spain, but again, not sure. America is a developed country where development is spread across. Will we follow American healthcare system? We should develop league that allows the poor to also compete. Oh, Nadeem, you're moving the goalpost, right? Every time when I'm trying to explain to you what we have, you're moving the goalpost to some other position and then saying, hey, we should do this. No, the healthcare system in America is rubbish compared to ours in Europe. The Americans should follow our European system. So the American system is not perfect. America is not a perfect system, and America is not an evolved and developed football system, right? It's an evolving football system. It is a sporting-wise the most developed ecosystem in the world in regard to grassroots and youth. I think Uchut could tell you more. But to me, the question is, that we have an IPL. The IPL sadly has been the role model for all leagues that followed in India. And we have tried before that the European way. Think about it. In 1996, we started with the NFL. In 2007, we started the I-League. Where are those two leagues? Where has that league gone? That league is going to be celebrating its 30th anniversary next season, right? We've not come anywhere. So we needed that financial input, and that financial input is only going to come from people who are going to invest. And if I'm going to invest X number of crores, I want a certain commitment that I have a chance to recoup that money. And that doesn't work. That's why that model was chosen by Reliance. Reliance took a huge gamble itself. Star invested money to say, listen, I'm going to be part of that journey. Those people who invested into the teams, into the franchises, they took a gamble. And that is something, if you don't want to take that debt, take it out. Yeah, take it out. What have the other teams done for Indian football over these years, right? We are a complete failure. That I go back, the Tata Football Academy has done more for football development than all clubs put together, right? I'll be very, very brutal in this point. The Tata Football Academy has done more for football development in India than anybody else. That's the reality, right? We talk about how inflated the wages are for Indian players. Most of the foreigners who are average Bundesliga 2, EFL, Championship, mid-level wages, our league is overpaid. Shomo, 100%. Everybody's overpaid. Everybody is overpaid in the system. It's not just the Indian players or the foreigners, the coaches, the staff, everybody, for the standard of football we have. And it's not an ISL problem, even in the I League, in the I League 2, in the I League 3. If you're looking at semi-pro at amateur level football, like a CFL, to me is an amateur league. The players live off the money. Who was the Iranian diaspora player you mentioned? Ashkan Dejaga was a Germany-born Iranian who at senior level decided to play for Iran. Most of his career played for Wolfsburg. No, what I was saying is that despite of so much restrictions and lack of foreigners, they have a very strong establishment in football. Debu, they have a tradition in football, right? They have the Tehran clubs are a big story. Those of you who follow Fiago might have seen the dangerous Tractor FC who was supposed to play Mohun Bagan last year, right? 120,000 watching them, you know. So that's that. But that country and its system doesn't work, right? They have a certain restrictions, and it still somehow works. It's football. North Korea. Do you want to copy in women's football the North Korean model? Then is that the model for you to copy? I don't know. Has the value of TV rights in Indian football always been zero, even before ISL in the I League and AIFF days? Yes, Ishan. There's been never any money paid for the rights for television. If Iran is not the case, India should follow what country is. Abdullah, we don't need to follow anyone. We need to develop our own system. Take out things. You can maybe take out certain elements, So therefore, that would be what I would say, right? Who were the coaches at Tata Football Academy? Long time, Ranjan Chaudhary. Over 200 players that Ranjan Da produced for the senior national team and junior national team. So he's been, he's been the main factor in regard to the development of talent at Tata Football Academy. Everybody is being overpaid in the system. Great, tell us what we can do. We even brought salary caps so that this won't happen, but it still happens. What will we do? Aditya, I don't have a solution to it. If I had a solution to it, I wouldn't be saying it here. I would be telling it to the authorities. Because you can work around the salary cap. You've seen that players have been taken on loan not to fall under the salary cap. You've got sponsorship deals which are done with players, whatever. If FSDL pulls out, the Reliance Foundation Young Champs comes to an end. Even at school level, Reliance conducted leagues. My school participated. Ishan, I don't think that Reliance Foundation part would die out. I think that would be still happening. But I'd say, ISL and Reliance Foundation Development League, that part would most probably die out. I think the school, university part and the grassroots part would, God bless FSTL, the real messiah of Indian football, says Aditya. Then what about Uzbekistan? Dimpu. Maybe there are, as I say, there are elements to take out of here, out of there, out of everywhere. There are elements to take out of Japan. There are elements to take here out of Germany, out of Spain, out of England, France, Netherlands. We need to develop our own system. Copying a system will not work. India is not a country. India is we call it a subcontinent. What works in Kolkata will not work in Mumbai. What works in Mumbai will not work in Kochi and Goa. That will not work in the Northeast, and that will not work in Punjab. We need to find regional, maybe even local solutions. So that's the reality. Tehran derby is bigger than Indian football, to be honest. Yeah, Hannibal, very, very, very true. We glorify our football as much as I love Kolkata and its football on one side, but that glorification and making it the biggest, I always find it funny that you ask the foreigners who come, this is the biggest thing. I'm like, Greg Stewart played the bloody Glasgow derby. What's going to tell you? He's not going to tell you on a face, oh no, Glasgow derby was bigger than this. No, he's not going to tell you that. But he's most probably thinking it in his head. That's the problem. Are leagues of Southeast Asian countries better than ISL? I would think yes. I would think that Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, I think those clubs will be stronger than ours, yes. Can ISL top clubs defeat Asian clubs? $1 million question. Aditya, do we do that in the Champions League? Champions League 2? Challenge League? That answers your question. I think that question is easily answered, right? There's no difficult answer to that, right? That's the reality of our football, right? At the moment, where we stand, where we are. We are not where we could, would, should like to be. We're not. We're nowhere near that. Yeah. So that's the reality of our things. We need to come back to reality, and yeah, it's very, very difficult, and yeah, that's the we're not there where we want to be, right? Where we need to be, and that's the reality, right? Had the pleasure of meeting Ranjit when he came to Delhi with Gokulam Kerala IWL squad, and he fondly recalled his TFA days. He also is respected by his former players. One of his ex players also. Sorry, came to meet him in Delhi. Nadeem, Ranjit is that exception. He's never made a fuss about it, right? All the other coaches, I did this and that. Ranjit will not talk about it. He's done. And and yeah, that's the thing. He's a great character, good coach, and he's done. So let's see. Even Iran has included good number of diaspora players. Yeah, Abdullah, they have, of course. And everybody is doing it around the world. Why would they not? Football in Kolkata right now is very unfortunately shambolic. We basically love to ride in nostalgia and legacy. They were very well said. Very, very well said. And that is and also it was bipolar or even tripolar at some extent, right? With Mohun Bagan, East Bengal, Mohammedan. Mohun Bagan is too big for the rest. And that is not good for Kolkata football. The rivalry, if it wants to stay alive, actually, East Bengal, Mohun Bagan need to be of the same level. One derby won by this team, one derby won by that team, and on the other side, so therefore, for me, that's very, very important. But Kolkata football lives in its legacy and its nostalgia. That's the biggest problem. The Maidan, especially the Kolkata Maidan, lives in nostalgia. The Kolkata Maidan, if it woke up, realized where we are in the year 2025, could take us in the right direction. But we are moving backwards because the Maidan is not waking up to those realities. I watched Fiago's vlog on KBFC, and empty stadium was embarrassing. Yeah, Hannibal, that day, protest, huh? The AIFF Pokal final prediction. That night, to me, Stuttgart clear favorites, but I would, yeah, my good old friend Chris Ponatakato Daniel, so therefore, I would wish Arminia Bielefeld, an upset. Let's see what happens. An Indian coach analyst that has generally impressed you and can coach in Europe, South America, Ishan. I would always say. My first choice would be Randy Singh. We're good friends, but yeah, it's to me, Randy is the one, if you ask me, to coach in Europe or outside of India. AIFF 50 players we're in contact with. Is it real? Sorry for language, but sounds yes. Abdullah, again, I'm the person who created a list for the AIFF. That's the only list that the AIFF currently has, whatever they say, and that list does not contain 55 names. And so therefore, no, as far as I know, it's not true. There is nothing productive in Kolkata football right now. No producing players, no academy, unstable IFN, CFL, and politics. Yep, they will sums it up. Listen, another Odisha FC is going nowhere. It's the only statement, the final statement for me that you should believe. Aditya, again, with all due respect, you can say that, but you and I are not the deciding factor on that. There is an owner family, which is the deciding factor. They are looking at financial numbers. And, if people tell me certain things that I can find out from people, and from that perspective, I've heard things. So therefore, I hope and I wish for you that the club stays in Odisha, but that risk is there, and the question is, it's not even a 50-50 at the moment of Odisha FC staying. What do you think about Deepak Sharma's allegations of assault against women players a part of AIFF committee? With amphetamine, we spoke about it an early part. Roshan asked about it. I also thought that there was, the disciplinary committee had taken him out for a certain period of time. Just another chapter of the many wrong things happening in Indian football at this moment. I think you should have a talk with Khalid Jamil once. Okay, Aditya. At least call up some Indian players playing in outside holding Indian passport players are playing low and top tier leagues in smaller countries. Goku, I think if they're good enough, AIFF would look at them. I think that the thought process at the moment is there's no one outside playing with an Indian passport who's good enough to play for the national team. Why did FC Pune City come to a close? Their academy was good and the academy had quite a buzz among the city's footballers. Because the owners were involved in financial fraud, they were arrested and they didn't have any money anymore, and therefore that franchise shifted from Pune to Hyderabad, very simply said. Quality will only go up if there's good coaching available in every big city, like how that would happen, because most good coaches have at least played top-level football themselves. You have none. See, Tobo, is it always in the cities? Is it not rather in smaller places, rural belts, smaller cities? I think that's where we need to go. To be honest, even though being a Mohun Bagan fan, I don't kind of like the current management, the way they handle the ACL2 and Anwar Ali case and dark away from the fans, and some other things like lack of women's team and no proper website and proper ticketing system. Debu. I understand and I feel you as a Mohun Bagan fan. I think a Mohun Bagan fan on one side will be very happy with the success the team has had in the last few years, but somewhat or the other, it's you can't touch it, you can't feel it, right? And a lot of things that would be logical to do is it's not being done by Mohun Bagan, and that's for me, Mohun Bagan, super giant as a franchise with all the money that they're spending. I think they could do a lot of things, and they could do a lot of right things, and they don't do it. And that's for me, I think the bigger, but again, on the other side, one has to be honest that, and you say that although it's much better than what was before 2020 without an investor, the point here is very, very simple. At the end of the day, that Mohun Bagan, on the one side is successful, but is that success and the way it's built on, will it work for the long term? I don't know. Are Indian players playing in 4th, 5th division in Spain good enough for national team like Dhruv Alva? Ishan, I asked you the question. We've had Ishan Pandita and we've had Jay Gupta coming back. I think that should answer your question. I don't think so. Right? Do you think initiatives like DSK Shivajans under tuition of Liverpool, which produce players like Chante, will help if they come up again, or any alternatives? DSK didn't come up under the tutelage of Liverpool. It just had a tie-up. So I think I give credit to the DSK Shivajans guys, or even FC Pune City also had some of the players and then they moved on. Yes, it would be good. But again, all those companies have disappeared for different reasons. It could be my bubble, but I've seen a genuine interest in football. Crazy fans, former college level players who are interested in coaching in general have gotten D license. But that's good, right? Whoever is interested should be good. Without trying, we don't know. I'm not saying players should be called up for senior team, but they could call up some player for U20, U23 kind. Goku, I take that liberty and freedom to have a little understanding of the standards here in Europe or elsewhere. And I'm telling you, those players are not good enough. It is not for employment. They have regular jobs. Such things are good for Indian ecosystem, right? Yes, of course. By the way, who is more social media manager? He, she's shameless and West. Okay, I don't know who it is. It's run by an agency, so it's not an individual. in other sports, people move from small cities to bigger ones for opportunities. Very true, Tobo. That's part of the system, the ecosystem of sports in India. Right, 1 hour and 41 minutes nearly. Yeah, sorry, Goku, to disappoint you, but that's my opinion on that. Having seen also lower level football or watching lower level football in this part of the world. Do like, share, and subscribe Iron Foot here on YouTube. Visit my other social medias. Yeah, subscribe, of course, to the channel if you haven't, and keep also watching for all the other things. Let me take Debus as the last thing. Mohun Military has the budget to build a proper scouting department and academy which can build an even stronger and sustainable team instead of throwing bucks on random players. Very, very true. So that's the thing. Right. Good night, Ishan. Good night, all of you. And I'll catch you very soon. Now it's Chaudhary signing off. Good night.